Thanks, listeners, for joining us for Elko Live today, our weekday radio show in which we are all tuned up for the National Cowboy Poetry Gathering right here in the heart of our hometown in Elko. We welcome so many guests and fans and muses and poets and artists and people from all over. And today we're pleased to get to meet, well, somebody new for me, but I know she's been on our airwaves before and she's been all over the world. I think we're really pleased to welcome Margo, of course, because Margo has been in Europe, I think most recently. Margo Cilker, welcome back, and thanks for being here today, Margo.
Thank you, Lori. Thanks so much for inviting me to stop by the studio. It's great to be back.
Well, it is wonderful to see you and to hear about the things that you've been up to, Margo, because you were in the Basque Country as well.
Yeah. I have quite a connection with the Basque Country. I'm not Basque myself, but I studied abroad in college, and I spent a year in Bilbao. And then I spent subsequent years over there teaching English, playing in bands, and enjoying Basque cuisine, making friends, and just learning,
Well, Margo, that already endears you to people in the Elko area, certainly, yes, because there are a lot of Basque and then Basque wannabe, and we certainly get that in our family, so.
Good, I'm glad I'm not the only Basque wannabe.
Yeah, definitely. And then you brought with you this guy sitting over here in the corner, and I got to see him perform on Monday. Yeah?
Yeah, this guy.
This guy over here, Forrest Van Tuyl, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Awesome. So we're still early in the gathering, right, Forrest?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And you got to perform the G3. That was cool.
One of my favorite rooms.
Yes,
Yep.
yes. And it's fair to say you guys know each other and you tour a lot.
We've spent a little bit of time together.
Okay, good.
We got married 5 years ago, and we were on tour about 4 days after we got married. So it was very kind of a rocky honeymoon.
Yeah, not recommended.
Well, obviously, though, it's wonderful when your adventures bring you together right here in Elko for the Elko Gathering, because we all know it's super special. So, yeah.
Of course.
It really is.
Yeah, it so is. And every year I come back, I just can't believe how just inspiring the whole community is. And it's kind of in the air, just this sense of mutual respect and just a sense of openness that's really heartwarming to me. And it catches me off guard every year.
You're right. It's genuine, the feeling, and that we love having you here, Margo, Forrest, seriously. And I got to say, as a person who's been doing this, loving this gathering for 39 years, also so happy that you guys care, because you're the next generation. I hope you don't mind me saying that, but it's cool for us. We like that you care, Forrest.
Well, it's cool for us too.
Yeah. So you're going to take us places in the next 39 years. That's what we're saying, right? All right. So Margo, you have Valley of Heart's Delight. That's your brand new album out.
Yeah.
Okay. So this show today is all up to them. It's going to be the Forrest and Margo show, or Margo and Forrest show.
Oh, no, not again.
Yes. So we're going to let you put together whatever you want, talk about it. I'm just here to make sure I get all the buttons in the right places. And obviously you're inspiring me as well. So thank you.
Yeah. You're so welcome. I'll set the mood here. This is the first song on my album, Valley of Heart's Delight. This is called Lowland Trail. Cattle moving high up a canyon side, looking for a lowland trail. Got miles before me and miles behind, looking for my lowland trail. Looking for a lowland trail, I'm a-looking for a lowland trail. Got hills to climb in my own sweet time, looking for a lowland trail. I'm looking for a lowland trail. We got trouble cropping up where it could have been love.
That was beautiful, Margo. Thank you so much. Margo Cilker is trying that one out on us, of course, here in Elko, live at the Gathering, and from the Valley of Heart's Delight album. I wanted to put in a plug because a lot of artists, you're selling your own merchandise, or what's the best place to get things? We know that there are some ways to get them online, but you guys don't always get the benefit of that.
Yeah, I would say the best way to find our music is just down the street at the Western Folklife Center gift shop.
That's
Perfect.
right.
Yay, good. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, we got all of our records and CDs in the Folklife gift shop. So that's kind of the best place to do it here in town.
Okay, that's great. Okay.
And what a perk to have a record store in a rural town like this. It's not, that's something to be proud of, and it's really a beautiful thing. You don't see that everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and their poetry collection in there is just incredible. I stopped by here this summer when I was out playing some shows, and I think I spent most of my show money on poetry books in the gift shop. They gave it to me, and I just gave it right back. Walked out with a stack of books.
Nice.
Yep.
That's really well. And Forrest, we didn't talk much about you. Obviously, we need to because, again, other than the fact that you guys get to tour together every once in a while, but you also come by this business honestly, as you spent a lot of work on in a saddle on the back of a horse and in some places out here.
Spent a lot of time on the back of a horse, looking at the backside of a mule and backside of cows, and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I cowboyed and packed mules up in northeastern Oregon and eastern Washington for about the last, 8 or 9 years. So that inspires a lot of my work for sure.
And that's part of what we want to feature today. Obviously, the Gathering will feature a lot of classic music and classic poetry, performance, beautiful literature and art everywhere. Music, dancing, oh my gosh, it's just endless. It's so much fun. But you also bring originals, things that inspire you. But I want to make sure you get to recite for us anything that's really on your mind right now or that you're bringing to the Gathering.
Well, yeah, this is kind of a little off-piste, as we say. But I just mentioned stopping by the Folklife Center this summer and picking up some books. And I picked up a chapbook by John Doffelmeyer, and it's got one of my favorite poems in there. And so I figured I'd just read this here on the radio. John Doffelmeyer is from California, and he's just a wonderful poet. He spent a lot of his youth packing mules in the Sierra mountains of California. And, his work really speaks to me. So this poem is called You Should Know by John Doffelmeyer. You should know how to read sign, find water, follow tracks and stars and tell about it, how to start a fire in the rain, skin a rabbit, cook the meat, and pick your teeth with a bone. You should know how to make the mundane rich with detail and symbolism, start your own religion quietly, to look through the eyes of animals, trees, and birds, to see yourself as common. You should know how to draw lines, share space, and learn to help. You should know how to create the kind of joy you cannot buy with cash or credit. That's John Doffelmeyer.
And that's Forrest Van Tuyl reciting John Doffelmeyer. Very nice.
That's me reading John Doffelmeyer.
Yes, yep. Yes, that's wonderful. Splendid.
Yeah, we first heard that poem during the Gathering's Roe Deer year when they were doing everything online during COVID. And, it was obviously kind of a crazy time. The world seemed like it was a little on fire. And me and Margo were sitting at home watching John's video. And he said that line, start your own religion quietly. And we stopped the video, wrote it down, and it just took over our lives.
It really did. It really did. And that's kind of such a nugget of wisdom that, it's a beautiful philosophy and just a great rule to live by.
Yep. And such a sneaky line. It's like start your own religion is so can entail so much stuff. And then he sneaks that quietly in there. It's like, I get it now.
And something I just would like to add too, something that was for me when I started down this wild life of being a folk singer, Joan Baez inspired me a lot. And part of why she latched on to the music of Woody Guthrie and Bob Dylan as her contemporary was that they were songs that taught you how to live. And that's something that, like, through a poem like this and through a lot of the poetry that's shared at the gathering, it's coming from a place of deep contemplation. And these poems can tell you how to live. They can tell you how to navigate certain things that people go through, whether you are Annie Mackenzie and, you know, outside of Jordan Valley, or if you're stuck in traffic in Seattle. You know, there are poems that can guide you, you know?
Well, thanks for sharing that with it. I'm just sitting here saying, keep going, because you're absolutely right. The inspiration is everywhere, Margo and Forrest. And that's, again, why people like to come to Elko, because then, you know, you see us all grabbing for pieces of paper. And I was talking to Ned Ledoux. I was interviewing him on the phone. He's here this week too. Yeah. Such a nice guy. And he mentioned something. He goes, yeah, I got this box of thoughts from my dad. I was trying to finish some of his songs. Yeah.
Oh, a box of thoughts.
I was
there
like,
we go.
Are you using that? Because that's amazing.
I love that. A box of thoughts.
Yeah. So when you see Ned, say, hey, are you working on that box of thoughts, Ned?
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. If not, we're going to take it. We're going to have a box of thoughts too. Well, I want to make sure you get to play some more, Margo, because we love hearing you.
Well, I'm here with this box, so I
Yeah,
might as
you
well
are.
use it.
Yeah.
Forrest, what's the dealer's choice today?
What song should Margo sing? Well, how about that song about Baker City, Oregon?
Oh, yeah.
That's
I'll
kind
do
of
that
a
one.
Western
That's a good
song.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a little homage to the Sagebrush Sea. This is a song I wrote after listening to a lot of Ian Tyson, which Forrest informed me about when we met.
Yep. It was day one, introductory course.
Yes. This is Here in Baker. It's dry out here in Baker, but the moonlight looks the same. You always said that you would meet me halfway. There's something lost between us. My kisses, they won't melt. That wiry thing that you've built up around yourself. If I come quickly, you'll know where to find me. But if I should tarry, count me with the wind. Me with the wind. Go find yourself a bunkhouse where you can raise your brand of hell, and you can yell the way that the coyotes around you yell. Come meet me on the fence line. Don't spare your words their sting, for the sagebrush sea is ripe for reckoning. Well, if I come quickly, you'll know where to find me. But if I should tarry, count me with the wind. Me with the wind. Count me with the wind. Me with the wind. It's lonely here in Baker.
Margo Cilker. And Margo, you know, even after 5 years, you still make Forrest blush.
Oh my
loving
goodness.
That was was adorable. He was really into it. So you got to know, I mean, you said, Margo, how Forrest influences you, because, you didn't know so much about Ian Tyson. And
Truly.
yes. So now we want to know, how does Margo influence you, Forrest?
Margo's biggest influence on me as an artist has been definitely the economy of my lyrical work. My brand is kind of way more words than you ever thought one person could fit in a song.
That's kind of like artificial intelligence. Yeah, don't get me started. Yes.
And since I've been around Margo so much and listening to her songs every day of my life, she's really taught me. She's an extremely economical writer, and that has really taught me a lot about music through her work. And also, as I introduced her to Ian Tyson, she introduced me to Lucinda Williams. And talk about economical, poetic writers. Lucinda is just kind of as good as it gets on that front.
Mm-hmm. So. And we're so fortunate that both of you care, and you're among the artists that are caring about this and sharing your talents, and then your own particular brand here at the 39th National Cowboy Poetry Gathering.
Yeah.
It was funny for us when you said economy. I was like, oh, yeah, I don't think this lifestyle lends to a mortgage, does it?
Lyrical economy, but the other economy, too.
Yeah.
Which is a perfect segue for this poem I just recovered. This is a new style of poem for me. This is the only poem I've ever written that's kind of an old school rhyme scheme. So it's called Paycheck. There's a lot of songs sung about the old time cowhand, how if he ain't on a horse, he ain't half a man, how he never was afoot, not even to the John, and how his hat was never off if his pants were ever on. But the times have changed, and we've drifted off course. You're either under a truck or under a horse, or a telehandler operator stacking hay bales with fence pliers on your saddle and grease neath your nails. And there's nails in your pockets for fences and shoes, and for everything else there's a leatherman, too. Yes, cowboys these days wear 4 or 5 hats. They can pull a blown engine or a heifer's first calf. They can start a rank colt or a cold John Deere, drive a herd of fat yearlings or a truck with 10 gears. But when payday comes, well, there's the wreck. You got a half a dozen jobs, but just a 1 paycheck.
That's great. And yes, Margo's still into you too. That's awesome. She loves that.
She's great. Giggling over there.
Yes, you are. That's the thing. They're both giggling, and I love it. So I know our listeners love it too. You guys, this is great. So yeah, and Amy Hale was sort of reciting to that effect too, about the economy of the ranch and working for the boss, who she's married to.
I know.
They're in the Spider Ranch. Yeah.
Yeah, we got a lot in common.
Yeah. Yep. Gail and Amy stories. Mm-hmm. Great fun. So what are you two looking forward to at you're going to perform. You want to tell us where you're going to be, Margo, and then I'll let you fill in with that too, Forrest?
Yeah.
Yeah, we are. So Forrest and I and Mike Beck are doing an In the Round performance on Saturday evening.
Oh, wow. I hope that's not sold out. I mean, you don't know yet, but
yeah, I'm not sure if it's sold out.
That'll be fantastic.
But I think there's still tickets for it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that.
Are you downtown or at the convention center?
It's at the G3 bar.
G3, great. Yep. Oh, that's such a perfect venue for that too.
Oh,
so, yeah. That's the only thing that we've been talking about that's hard about the gathering is you want to do everything.
Of course.
All at once.
I know, but it keeps you coming back year after year.
Yep.
Yeah, doing new stuff. Great. Yeah. So playing with Mike Beck, that'll be fun.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Then other places or things are you doing?
I'm also doing a show on Friday, Thursday, or I think it's on Friday, and it's called Paying Tribute. And that's going to be me and Waddy Mitchell and Annie McKenzie and Gail Steiger and Terry Nash. And I don't know what everybody else is doing, but the theme of the show is to pay tribute to other artists and poets who came before. And my focus is going to be on the poet Drum Hadley, who performed at some of the earliest gatherings. And his work has just been super inspiring to me. And he passed away in 2015. So I'm going to be performing a series of his poems from the very, very deep corners of New Mexico, Arizona, and Sonora, Mexico.
Nice. Thanks for keeping those going for us. That's great. Yeah.
Pleasure's
absolutely.
mine.
Yeah. And then Margo, have you got other performances, things going on, or?
Oh, I'm here to learn and enjoy. And it's fun to kind of reconvene with everyone. Actually, well, I've just got the show on Saturday, but I'll be walking around and, I'll be just popping into different events and stuff. But something that I'm so looking forward to doing is seeing my fellow performers. And I've really enjoyed the music of Wiley in the Wild West. And Wiley, he's been very encouraging to me. And last year he gave me one of his CDs. And on that CD, there was a version of the song Ribbon of Darkness. And I started playing that song with my band. And he just has a great taste he's a great song collector. He writes awesome songs, and he also just has a really sharp sense of collecting other people's songs, much like Joan Baez, in fact.
Yeah.
And it's that generosity, too, that you're talking about, knowing when to, sort of share that collected song with someone else, saying, hey, or maybe you'd be interested in this, or loving it when they perform it, right?
Yeah. And I don't work for, I'm not a cowboy. I don't work horseback. But there's a lot with the performers. There's a lot of commonality there, and I'm very familiar with the ins and outs of working as a musician, and there are some striking similarities. Having your bedroll at the ready.
And she can throw hay off a feed truck like nobody's business.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, I'm a tag along for sure. But yeah, I'm fortunate now that I can do music instead.
Well, and your writing, and obviously is beautiful too. I mean, you have your own inspiration that is also common. I think a common theme with cowboys and people who live on the land, families in agriculture, Margo, because you're writing about places that don't exist anymore. I read that about Santa Clara, right?
Yeah. Certainly. Yeah. So learning about, I really did a deep dive on the history of the place that I grew up in. And I'm the 5th generation of Cilkers in the Santa Clara Valley. So it's really interesting to kind of think about, obviously there is a thread, but I felt a little, I grew up in the suburbs there, and I didn't know how to access like the part of the history of the place, because you can't see it anymore because it's concrete,
Oh, right. It's literally paved over for Silicon Valley when you think about apricots growing there. And now
there's little pockets though. There's actually so my hometown is Los Altos, California, and there's a heritage orchard that they've kept planted, and they just put in 100 new trees. And they really invest a lot of care into keeping these heritage orchards right in the downtowns of places like Saratoga, Los Gatos, Los Altos. It's a really cool, I've kind of come full circle. I had to leave home, and I did all my rambling, and I ended up in the Basque Country, and that, I uncovered so much beauty. And then there was a time to circle back and reflect on the place I'd come from. And with all the lessons I've learned from people living in the rural West and people living in Bilbao and everything in between, South Carolina, I did a lot of discovery, I'd say. I'm a very curious person, and when I was in school, I studied anthropology, so that should clue you in on why, showing up at an event like this might make sense for me.
Yes, that's the great thing, too, about this gathering. 39 years old, the National Cowboy Poetry Gathering. It attracts the artists and their muses, and it attracts anthropologists and academics and people who they're still scratching their heads after 39 years, but they know it makes them feel good, right, Forrest?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So do you have any stories about how maybe you grew up, or are some of those wild places still left, or?
The place that kind of made me who I am, I guess, would be Wallowa County, northeastern Oregon. And man, it's starting to change too. It's going slow. It's very remote and tough to get to, but especially during COVID, the tourist economy there really boomed. There's a lot of folks, from Portland and all over the Northwest. When their cities were making their lockdowns all crazy, they thought, we'll just go out to Wallowa County, Eastern Oregon, and then we can do whatever we want to. And so that got a little rocky there for me, and kind of drove rents up and caused a bit of a housing shortage that was already in the works. So just that classic resort town thing. You get to a place and you're like, wow, this place is gorgeous, and it's way too gorgeous for me to be able to afford in about 5 years. So just, I feel like that's happening all over the West and really accelerated during the pandemic. So yeah, that's just something we're all kind of dealing with, I think.
Mm-hmm. Wow, Forrest and Margo, thanks for talking about that, because that's sort of the things that we think about too, about art and engaging us in, the future and where we want to be and how we want to help, fix things, frankly. How this can maybe bring us together in that way.
Yeah, and that's something I've really grown to appreciate about Elko. You come for the cowboy poems and the cowboy stories and the old time awesome stuff like that, but I've been realizing that it's really just like a meeting of the cultural and literary centers of the West. It's like, it's come for the cowboy poetry, stay for the really heady philosophical stuff. And I really appreciate the big tent nature of the gathering and how it's not just the traditional rhyming guys from cow camp, even though we still got those guys around. It's, we had Joy Harjo last year. It's just people who write really well about the West and care about the West, and we all just get together and perform and eat dinner at the Star and, talk a lot.
Yeah. Were you able to catch Joy Harjo last year?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
I heard her. Yeah, it was so amazing. Yeah, people like that. It is amazing. And it kind of, the gathering kind of offers that chance to reflect on where we've been and think about where we're headed, but also to celebrate where we are right now. And that's what I was kind of talking about, just that feeling of optimism. I mean, I really do think there's this optimism that emanates from person to person while we're here. And, there's a lot to be grateful for, and we can raise a glass of Cidra to that.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There'll be some of that going on too.
Oh, yeah. I might even have a pecan.
Yeah, might even.
One's not enough and two's way too many.
Or the Sagadoa.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. That'll be celebrated tonight at the Basque Clubhouse with Jordan Wright's cooking that's going to be going on with Jordi Balsa. So looking forward to that. Well, both of you sitting here make me feel great because I don't know if you realize it, but you're future wise. I don't know if you want to be called wise yet, because wise usually gets associated with older people, but you guys are both pretty wise. So thanks. I'm really happy to get to meet you.
Thank you, Lori. Thanks for inviting us to come in.
Yeah, so pleased.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Gosh, you can send us with whatever you like, because unfortunately, I guess we have to put ABC News on after you guys. We have to find out what's going on in the rest of the world.
Oh, no. Why don't you send us out with a song, Margo?
Yeah.
Not to put you on the spot.
Yeah, I will. I'll send it out with the song. Okay, this song is called That River. And this song tells the story of a time I drove in the moonlight from Enterprise, Oregon, out to Jordan Valley. That river, in the winter, it could rough me up, crack my ribs, bust my lip. It could do enough. Were you staying in your own lane? Were you passing on a steep grade? Out driving through the Minum, when the moon came up, I could see her. I had a fever, lit by the troubles with love. I was asking a question, what did she say? She was answering one from yesterday. One saying, fortune, it favors the bold, and the far away away from home. At Jordan Valley, she would gladly stop in at Mrs. E's with the shepherds and the wreckers to keep her company. Took a room at an old Basque hotel. It was like a kind of a prayer when her eyelids fell. One saying, fortune it favors the bold and the far away from home. That river in the winter, it could rough me up, crack my ribs, bust my lip, it could do enough.
Margo Cilker. Margo, thank you so much. That was so beautiful.
Oh, you're so welcome,
Yeah.
Lori. Thank you.
Absolutely. I'm going to spell Margo's last name. Well, it's Margo with no T, and it's Cilker. So you can look her up and you can get her stuff. You can go to the Western Folklife Center and get that brand new album out, which is Valley of Heart's Desire. And then you have another album out too, or another previous one, right?
I do, yeah. Poho Reel and Valley of Heart's Delight. Those are the two.
Oh, sorry. Did I say something
fine.
else?
Desire.
Oh,
Valley of
well,
Heart's Desire.
that comes after Delight, right? All right.
I don't know where that valley is.
We're all still looking for that one. And then Forrest with 2 R's, and it's VanTuyl, and that's, with a capital Tuyl.
That's right.
Yeah. So, because you said that during your show too. You're like, hey, nobody
It's
knows
a
how to spell
sneaky
my
one,
name.
yeah.
Yes. All right. Thank you both so much for being on the program today. It was really our pleasure and delight. And we look forward to seeing you both at the gathering.
Thank you, Lori. Escaricasco.
Thank you so much.
Ongiatori Elcora.
There you go.
Thank you, listeners, for joining us today.